Sunday Night Stock Zoom call. I hope you had a productive last week, and I hope you're having a powerful weekend. Looking forward to a prosperous upcoming week in the market. Family, this is not financial advice. This Zoom is for entertainment, education, excitement, and empowerment so that you can make your own personal choices. All financial decisions made by viewers should be done after talking with a licensed professional. Hey, listen, we're not wasting any time tonight. We're getting in all four corners of the bag. You know what time it is. The show starts now. Hey, Jana, glad you can be back with us. Tell us what's happening this week in the market.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be back and share with you a few updates for the week. There are some earnings calls this week, mainly for the end of the week, starting on Wednesday. There is an earnings call with JP Morgan, Delta Airlines, and BlackRock. On Thursday, you can expect earnings calls for Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Taiwan Semiconductor, and Walgreens Boots Alliance. And on Friday, there are just a few earnings calls for Goldman Sachs, one for Charles Schwab's, and PNC Financial Services. And those are my updates for the week.
Hey, thank you, Jana. Hey, listen, govern yourselves accordingly. You know what's happening. But listen, we've been talking and we've been discussing because our stocks have been taking a turn. Some of our stocks have been getting hammered. And what you all wanted us to do, y'all wanted the management team to get, and we wanted to research 25 different stocks that you all had, and we wanted to see if they were still fundamentally sound. We wanted to see if the management team still was holding fast to what they said they were going to do, so that we as investors will be able to have our money in the right place and be able to make those investments in those particular stocks. We went over a few of them last week. Before we get into this, I got Kev in the background. He's ready to go. Before we get into that, I want to shout out some bangers, some of our members on SNS that really made some money last week. I want to go over to the crypto area, and in the crypto market last week, we had some bangers. That Shibu NU really hit it out the park, and I want to give a major salute to Lady Alexander. She was in there bobbing and weaving, and she took some great profits. I want to give a major salute to my man up in ATL, Dana Broxton. He's been on Shibu Inu before we all got on Coinbase. Him and his staff, they were talking about it. Major salutes to you, Dana. I know you hit it out the park and pulled some nice profits. I also want to give some major salute to Pastor Harper and Lady Harper, hitting it out the park, pulling that cream off the top. Shibu Inu really did his thing. Also want to give a shout out to myself, because I made some money last week in Shibu Inu, and also our homeboy up in New Jersey. He'll be on in just a minute. Kev hit it out the park. So listen, that crypto is hot as fish grease. It's moving. And listen, if you haven't got into that space, we talked about this over a year ago, is getting into that Coinbase area, because there's another side to make money in, not only in the stock side that we deal with, but also in the cryptocurrency. And the cryptocurrency is really moving. Shibu Inu seems like she may have some more runs in her. So you might want to pack you a little dry powder if you got in there, any dry powder in on that particular crypto, and just ride it to the promised land. All right. So what we want to do now, I want to go into these particular stocks we went over last week. These were some of the picks that you all had that we were discussing. And they'll be on the screen now. These were some of the picks that you all were discussing last week. We talked about Zynga. And as you can see, Zynga from last week to week, Zynga is down. It opened last week when we were talking about it at $7.49. And as you can see, it's kind of consolidated. You know, we went through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we had 5 trading days on Zynga. And as you can see, it's kind of consolidated. What does that say to us as the smart investor, as the CEO of our portfolios? What that say to us? It's kind of, you know, consolidating right in here. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. The uncertainty in the market now has to do with a lot of things that's going on in Congress. We just came through that whole piece of them not going to raise the debt ceiling, which would have been cataclysmic for our stocks, our countries paying its bills, so on and so forth. They got it right. and they just kick the can down the road for a little bit until December. We have to revisit that situation all over again. So us as smart investors, we got to do some portfolio cleanup. We got to do some portfolio management, and we got to see if there's some areas where we can pivot out of certain stocks, put these positions, put them in another position that we can ride it up and make some money. So that Zynga, as you can see, it just pretty much all week flatline. All right, let's go to the next banger on the list. It was SLGG, ticker symbol, Super League Gaming, and as you can see, it's up $3.23. Last week when we talked, it was at 309. So you only got a few percentage change there. So if you really look at that, that's another stock that's pretty much doing what? It's consolidated. 5 business days of trading, it's consolidated. I think as we are as smart investors, if you're in this particular piece, you got to make a decision what you're going to do, whether you're going long, whether you're going to swing, or whether you're going to pivot. All right, let's go to the next banger on the list. Sundial Growers. Listen, there was a lot of excitement about Sundial Growers. This is the cannabis stock. This company is out of Toronto. They're holding it down there. This company is debt-free, only 67 cents, as you can see, but it shot up to like 75. A lot of people were swinging in and swinging out, made a lot of money here. This was a money player this week, and then it kind of consolidated down to about 68 as the bell rung on Friday. And then after the after hours, when it got 8 p.m., it kind of fizzled out at 68%, which was a penny up. But let me tell you the good news in Sundial Growers, what happened this week, where it was a lot of energy. I know you all got the stock, got the text message from me early in the morning. I'm always in there researching, looking. I'm on CNBC, trying to be up before you guys get up. So when you guys get up, we're pushing that information out, and you guys know what the plays are and what's happening. Sundial Growers, what they did, because they were debt-free, this was a meme stock. They made a whole bunch of money, a ton of money, and they just acquired this company called Alcanna. Alcanna is the largest, one of the largest what would we say, spirits, liquor store chains in all of Canada. So watch this move. Watch what they're doing. They're debt-free. They're sitting on a trunk of money. And what they're doing is they're getting these acquisitions and buying up these other companies, because guess what? It's not if, but when the United States make marijuana legal across the board and the federal government legalizes marijuana, this particular stock is going to be a banger. So everybody's kind of on hold, not knowing what to do. But with them purchasing Alcanna, which was this large chain of spirits in all of Canada, it put them into position to have something so that now they can come over here in the U.S., start expanding those chains in the U.S. So not if, but when the federal government legalizes marijuana, they'll already have a foothold and they'll be able to start setting up those shops. So that was a good play. But this was the other banger about this move that Sundial Grower made. And I want you to, Google it, look at it. But this is a great play right here. Especially it's a great buy at 68 cents. You're talking about a penny stock. This thing can hit $2 just like that. The other thing was, with them acquiring this company, Alcanna had 63% shares in this other company called Nova, which is one of the largest cannabis chain stores in all of Toronto. So not only did they get Alcanna, which was the spirit shop out of this deal, but they also picked up Nova out of this deal, which was positioning them again, because here's what this is going to do for Sundial. Sundial went through a management restructuring, and as you all know, we can look back at our not just 8-9 months ago under the leadership of 45 that we had, and you saw how wild the country was. When you get good leadership and management, companies can rise to the top, and they can really, really do great exploits and make us as the investors a lot of money. So by them getting Alcanna and by them getting Nova, they're getting the opportunity. These companies have management people that's been there 25, 30 years of experience, and they're being able to get all of that experience, bring it into Sundial Growers Inc., and be able to take the company to the next level. So look out for this stock. This stock is going to be very promising. You'll want to visit this. All right, next banger on the list is Gap. As you can see, 23.20 opened last week when we talked about it, 23.57. It's down a few pennies. As you can see, there's some consolidation there. There's some consolidation. Again, you know what we're waiting on with Gap? Kanye West, he has this 10-year deal with them. And as you can see, every time Kanye puts out something, we were looking for this to really be at this particular time. We were thinking it was going to be at $75. But Kanye did not put the clothing line out. Henceforth, the kids went back to school. He dropped a few pieces. The pieces he dropped sold out immediately. And this stock is still in the consolidation. This is S&S a long hold because this stock will pop. This is a long hold. I wouldn't pivot. I wouldn't swing it. I'll just hold it. And every time it dips, I'll add more to it. That's personally what I would do. All right, next banger on the list is Elts Nutrition Holding. As you can see, last week when we talked, it was at 207. It's down 6 cents. It's at 201. This company is out of Israel. And you know what it is? It's a 100% whole food based nutritional company for babies and adults. And they do all plant-based food. It's a great company. I'm holding 125 shares, and every time it dips, I add to this particular position because I think Elts is going to be a major banger and a major player. So this is a long hold. Next banger on the list, this was given to us by Ross. It's Clove Health Investment. And as you can see, they're up a few pennies. Last week when we talked about them, they was at $7.47. They're up $7.85. But I want you to notice the trend, family. What's happening? All of these stocks are just kind of like spudding. They're just kind of spudding. We'll track them a few more weeks and see what they're doing. Which remember, there's a lot of FUD. Write this down. I want to give you this. This is a good acronym to put down. There's a lot of FUD. F-U-D. Fear, uncertainty, in the market. There's a lot of FUD in the market right now. Okay. And when you get FUD out there, it causes the stocks to do what you see them doing right now. A lot of fear and uncertainty. And you know the stock market kind of looks forward. All right. Next banger on the list is Bionanogenomics. We used to call this Bingo. And as you can see, Bingo is at 522 last week when we looked at it. And now it's at 515. It's down a few pennies. And as you can see, with all of these stocks that we have in our portfolios, they're pretty much in that consolidation point. So again, as smart investors, smart traders, we got to make a decision on what we want to do. And you ought to be trying to clean up your portfolios and get ready. Because remember, family, when this infrastructure deal get passed, and it will get passed, the Democrats will do this. I want you to write these ticker symbols down before we bring Kev in to go over our spreadsheet and so on and so forth. Remember, the Biden infrastructure deal sets aside $7.5 billion for charging stations. And I want you to write these ticker symbols down, put them on your watch list. There's a lot of them that you could probably really get in, like Volta, and you can swing it and make you some real nice money. But you need to look at these charging stations because it's not if, it's when the Democrats pass this infrastructure bill that you're going to see these particular charging stations just really take off. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to, capitalize on that. So ticker symbol VLTA is Volta, VLTA. It's trading now at $7.94. I like this anywhere around the 760. Anywhere around 760 is definitely the buy zone. It's buy zone now, but anywhere around 760. All right. The next one is EVGO. E as in Edward, V as in Victor, G-O. It's at $7.73. I like this anywhere around the 740, 737. It's in the buy zone. The other one is right here in South Florida, right in South Beach. Blink, ticker symbol BLNK. These are all charging stations. Make sure you got these on your watch list. You want to watch these because, you know, if you get in and you get in right, as soon as that deal is passed, you're going to see the shoot up. You'll be ready to come out once everybody gets in. Another one is Plug, PLUG, ticker symbol. It's at $27.19. Blink is at $27.09. But here's the major banger on the list. I like this anywhere in the 17s. ChargePoint. And the reason I say ChargePoint, CHPT, is because ChargePoint right now, they own 70% of all of the charging stations throughout the continental US. All right. And they're trading now at $18.55. That is the buy zone. That's a $40 stock all day long. Volta is a $15 stock. Okay. So that's CHPT. And then the last banger on the list is going to be Fuel Cell. Fuel Cell is trading at $6.39. All right. Govern yourselves accordingly to those ticker symbols. You want to put them on your watch list because there's a lot of money to be made in that space. Once this infrastructure deal is made, there's about $7.5 billion in Biden's Build Back America plan that's strictly for the charging station. Okay, without further ado, we want to bring Kev in. We want to get to these other things. I think you're going to like this piece right now. G Money, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I'm gonna go through some of the data within the chart. I'm gonna share it with everybody, you know, once we get it all, you know, completely locked down. But what I want to do first is just kind of, Tim, go through the you know, those ticker symbols that we didn't get to last week. So I want to run through that first. But I just want to start off by saying that, you know, we've all kind of gotten into this space where we say, hey, you know, is this a good stock? You know, and you have to ask yourself a question. After going through this analysis, I've learned a lot. And you can ask that question, but you got to understand the context of what you're asking for. So do you want to know if it's a good stock, or do you want to know if it's a good company to invest in? So you really need to make that delineation. Asking somebody if a stock is good could mean that, hey, can I make some money off this thing? And as we talk about day trading and swing trading, those are opportunities where maybe you get a tip or you get some information that we share here at a Sunday Night Stocks, where we say, hey, man, this company has a stock price of $2 and we've looked at some news and it looks like there's something significant going on and this thing may double. It may go from $2 to $4 or $2 to $6 to $8. That's a day of swing trade opportunity for me, because we haven't really looked into the company to determine what the long-term fundamentals look like, you know, whether they're a viable company. So we really need to kind of look at you know, look at that when we're looking at whether or not this is a good stock or a good company. We talked about how rare these markets are. The markets used to be based on pure fundamentals, you know, in the past. If a company had good fundamentals, there was a likelihood that they had a good growth stock. You know, you can invest in that company and it would grow over a period of time. You know, now we have a concept of these meme stocks, and you can have a company that has a stock price of, you know, 87 cents, you know, and because the retail trader, you know, determines that it's a meme stock and they want to pump this thing up, you get into the pump and dump scenarios, you know, so where this thing can go from 87 cents to 10, 12, or $15, you know, that's an opportunity to get in and make some money. You have to be careful with that. You really need to be watching the news, watching what's going on with that company, watching what's going on with that stock to determine whether or not you can get in, get your profits, and get yourself back out of it, because it's likely not a company that's going to have any long-term growth from 87 cents and just kind of sit at $15 or $20 for the long term. So I wanted to share that, you know, first off, and then I'm gonna go through these stocks, you know, from last week. So Barrow had a couple. He had Wish was one of them. The majority of what we talked about, you know, we had about 20, 25 stocks on this list. The majority of these things are going to be watch lists. You know, you know, first of all, we're not advising anybody what to do. We're just collectively sharing information. But for the most part, these things are all going to be things that you just need to keep an eye on personally. Take a look at the company and make a determination as to whether or not it's a good company to invest in. But Wish, definitely a watch list. It's undervalued right now with some good upside potential. So personally, Wish is one that's, you know, they're taking a little bit of a beating right now, but you know, fundamentally, you know, I kind of see Wish as being a player in the space that, on the long term, should be okay. So it's a watch list item. I wouldn't particularly do anything. If you wanted to get out of it, it's up to you and move your money to something else. It's a personal choice, but it's a watch list item for me. FUV was another one that Barrow had. Another watch list item. I'm not going to call anything, buying. So I'm just going to call everything a watch list item for the most part. But FUV is poised to reach $13. So I think they're currently trading somewhere around the $10 mark. They're poised to reach 13. So you really got to do some fundamental research, which I'm going to, share some information and show folks how to do it. But you really want to look into the long-term viability of the company, what they're doing, what their revenue, net income looks like, what they're doing with their capital, what else are they looking to invest in long-term, to really determine whether or not you want to be in that for the long haul, or you just want to make a couple of dollars and get out of it. Dana had a couple, CHPT, charge point. Tim, you mentioned that as one of the ones that we're looking at in terms of these charging stations. Again, watch list item, something I'd probably hold on to. I think a lot of these companies have good opportunity. Tim, you rambled off about 4 or 5 companies that are in that space. One of the things that I would do is I would look into all of those companies. I would do some analysis on all of them. If they're competitors, I'd want to know who's the best, and again, who's got the better long-term viability. So rather than investing in all of those companies and have a little bit of money here and money over here, money over here, money over here, maybe you want to do some analysis and determine which one of those 5 has a better growth opportunity, which one is going to grow your money better. Similar to what, we had done, some of us had done with Bitcoin. I was in Bitcoin with a certain position. Bitcoin wasn't moving fast enough for me. So I moved it to a different crypto that had a better opportunity to grow their percentages. And my growth has been significant, in that space. I made a lot more money, moving the money over to a lower cost crypto that had better growth opportunity than having a couple of dollars in a very expensive Bitcoin. So it wasn't like I was $100,000 and $200,000 in Bitcoin where I could make those big swings. I only had a couple of dollars in it. So even if Bitcoin doubled to $100,000, that means maybe I would have made 300. It's not significant enough. So I'd rather take that money and put it somewhere else. So definitely want to look into all of these charging station, companies and determine which one is, has the best growth. And maybe that's where you want to put your money. Neo's a tough one. I was in Neo. This one, another one that Dana provided. I was in Neo, out of Neo, in Neo, out of Neo. Neo has a tendency to always be up and down. So you really have to keep an eye on Neo. But you definitely want to look at Neo's competitors. And again, I would probably look to invest in the, in the best company in that space, rather than being spread out, across all of these different, all of those different companies. Tilray. This was Vernon. Tilray's fundamentals are a little bit difficult. They're a little bit underwater right now. I'd say do a little bit more research, on Tilray. If it looks like they can survive and come out of the position that they're in, it might be a good opportunity to pick some up at a low cost if there's some long-term growth. Their fiscal year ends in January, February, March, April, May. So you really have to kind of do some fundamentals on it because they've already passed their fiscal year. You know what I mean? Their financial year is finished already. So they're already, what is that? May, June, July, August, September, October. They're already 4.5, 5 months, into their new financial year. So I'd be curious to see what they're going to, what they're going to look like, as the year continues. So definitely one to keep an eye on very closely. Fuel Cell, again, another good company. I don't have anything negative to say about Fuel Cell. I think that they've got some tremendous growth potential, but I would definitely want to put them in the list of competitive companies and determine which one of those companies is the best to really, put my money in for the best growth opportunity. Alicia had a couple. Gamble was one of them, GMBL. It needs a little more research. I mean, Gamble's kind of been up and down. They had some, significant information that came out, over the months, and one would have expected them to do a little bit better than what they, what they've done. I would personally want to do a little bit more research on Gamble, look at the financial structure and actually see what the company looks like and determine whether or not it's a long-term hold or if it's something you want to kind of swing and try to get out of, as soon as possible. WWR, wastewater resources, good fundamentals on that one. It's an ideal long-term investment with a 5-year revenue increase of 178%. So if you invest your money in that company, based on the fundamentals that I've seen, it seems as if they've got a pretty good growth structure, and they should yield a pretty solid return. So seems to be a solid company to me that's on their way with a good 5-year plan. Gary had one, TAAS, again, watch list item. The outlook was a little bit sketchy from what I saw. I would definitely want to do a little more analysis on that one to determine, what the long-term viability is. But, at first glance, I didn't see anything overly positive with it at the moment. It might be one of those opportunities where, hey, here's a low-cost opportunity. You can get in. If it happens to have a great day or a great week, get out and perhaps move on to something else, where you can get a better long-term return. Trent had BTCS, again, watch list item, poised for 100% growth over the next 4 to 5 years. I haven't seen anything negative. I think they're on a steady pace, for growth. Fundamentals look fairly decent. So definitely one to keep on the watch list. Trent also had BT, which is, again, watch list item. I probably hold on to it. Relatively new in the space. When I say relatively new, within the last 4 or 5 years, but didn't see anything negative, and they seem to have pretty solid growth potential. But again, definitely want to look at the company fundamentals to see, see what they're doing with their money and where they're investing. And the last one from Trent was RGBP, which, again, watch list, kind of tough. I mean, a low cost, company, definitely want to keep an eye on it. Since 2014, they've yet to break $1. But, it depends. It's a low cost opportunity. If you watch the trends on that particular stock, it might be something good to either day or swing trade. If they have good, a couple good weeks, where they do 30, 40%, being that it's low cost, if you have some good information, it might be a good investment to just turn around a couple quick bucks. But in terms of the long term, they've been less than $1 for quite a long time. So do I see this as a fantastic long-term investment? Requires a little bit more analysis to see what the company's doing. So that's all I have for that. Next thing I want to do is just share this. I want to share the spreadsheet again, and I'm just going to go over one opportunity to, again, just kind of recap where we left off last week, just to show the importance of analyzing these companies to determine whether or not you want to invest. So let me just share my screen real quick. And Tim, you're my barometer here, so you let me know when you can see my screen.
We good? Give me 2 quick blow ups. Give me 2 quick blow ups. That's good.
All right. So the one that we're going to look at, and again, we're not going to go through a bunch of them. I'm just going to go through one because, again, I just want to show everybody the importance of this information. And it's Tilray. And, one of the first things you want to look at is, you want to see what kind of revenues this company has. Any company that we research, you want to take a look at the revenue. So the items in green are fields that we would populate the information, so that means we go out to the internet, we do some research, and I have a website that you guys can use to pull this information. It has all the information, but it'll get you in the habit of going out to actually research these companies and understand how they're actually operating. So there's 3 things that you want to take a look at. One is going to be the balance sheet. The second is going to be the income statement. And the third is going to be the cash flow statement. Okay, so those are very important. And you don't have to, go through them in any excruciating detail. The numbers are going to jump right out at you. But you definitely want to understand the revenue, that this company has. The other thing you want to understand is their net income, right? You want to understand how they're operating, with that income. Very important. How much free cash flow do they have? The reason why this is really important is, again, you may have a company that has a $2 stock price, and you're saying, man, this stock price is low. You know, these guys can double, you know, they can really grow or triple. And then you do some analysis and find out that these folks are $108 million, you know, negative cash flow, you know, on annual earnings. They don't have any money. So other than being a meme stock, how is this company going to go from $2 to $4, $6, $8, $10 if they don't even have any operating capital? So the money that they're making, they're spending more than that's going out the door. You know, another thing you want to look at is their debt. Total debt of this particular company, 938 million. So again, you look at their revenues for the year, and then you look at their debt, you know, questionable. Shareholder equity, 4.4 billion. You know, the book value of the company, $9.99. Stock price currently trading at 10.49. So these areas in red here, these will auto-populate. So the only data that you guys will need to put in is the important data that you're going to get from those 3 documents that I had mentioned. You want to plug in the revenue, plug in the net income, the free cash flow, the total debt, the shareholder equity, and the book value. Once you plug that information in, I put calculations in here that's going to calculate all the rest of this stuff. And some of it is going to come directly from the internet right into Excel. So as soon as you put in the company name right here, it's going to populate some of this data in these pink fields, right? Like the shares outstanding, the market cap. It's going to populate all that information for you. And then what you want to look at is you want to look at the EPS ratio, the earnings per share. So when you see a negative number like this, it's a red flag. And what I'm going to put in the spreadsheet is I'm going to put some caution flags in here. So when this information populates, you're going to see some caution flags pop up just to let you know, ooh, I better keep an eye on this. So this might be something I need to pay attention to because I have a lot of red negatives here. This will help us kind of quickly move past a company and say, I'm not really feeling that, because fundamentally the company's not really doing that much. The price to book ratio is another important thing, okay? The PE ratio, you know, we all know the price to earnings ratio is very important. The PS ratio, the price to sales ratio is very important, you know, and then the debt to equity ratio, you know, 21% debt to equity. Anything over 1 is questionable. These guys are at 21%. And then you also want to look at the profit margin. And again, I have all this stuff calculating. So once you plug in that information, it's going to spit this stuff out. So the profit margin for Tilray for 2021 was a negative 83%, you know? So this will give you a good indicator as whether a company is in a good financial position for you to invest your money in, or perhaps it's just a meme opportunity, you know, because we see a lot of those now where these things kind of, they're pump and dumps, you know? So when somebody asks me, hey, is this a good stock? I'll always say, well, what's the pump and dump look like now? You know, after doing some research, does it look like it's a runner? You know, are you getting some significant information from people that's saying that, hey, this thing is probably going to run a few dollars and then tap out? If that's the case, you need to make a decision as to whether or not you want to jump into that day or swing trade. But once you look at the fundamentals, that's going to let you know whether or not you need to leave your money in that space. So Tim, that's all I have. I'm going to share this with folks. What I would recommend is that, you know, once we share this out, you guys reach out to Tim and I, and what we'll do is we'll walk through it with you guys individually, because I think that's the best way to do it. You know, for those that are interested, it'll give you a solid understanding of what you're looking at and where you're pulling the information from. That's it for me, Tim.
Okay, good stuff. Can you take your share down? Do I need to take it down for you, Kev?
No, I got it.
Okay. Good stuff, family. Listen, we're in Q4, and I just want to make a couple quick observations. What happens when you are in Q4? What I mean by that is we're in the fourth quarter before we get ready to turn into the next year. So when you're in Q4, a lot of the hedge funders and the big money managers, they start toward the end of this month and the beginning of next month pulling profits. Well, if those big hedge funders and those big money managers start pulling profits, what does that do to the share price? It brings the share price down. So they're going to start taking their profits, that they've been invested in Q1. And as they get ready to Q4, they want to start, giving a return back, to their investors, people that have signed up for those hedge funds and those money managers to manage their money. They want to start writing those checks out. They want to start writing, hey, listen, we made a lot of good picks this year. Here's what you made. We made here's what you made. They want to start writing those checks. And so look for the share prices to start dropping. What I normally do and what I would recommend is you start putting you some dry powder on the side. Just start putting you some money on the side, because watch this. Here's some things that the last 6 years I've been doing research on. The best time when we get into Q4 to purchase stocks, and what you can do is, if you don't trust it, do your own research, look back what I'm telling you, and you're going to see it. Just keep going back year after year. The best time to purchase is when everybody got their eyes on Santa Claus. Everybody is in the malls, and everybody's Black Friday, everybody's shopping. December 24th. Nobody's thinking about stocks. Everybody's thinking about Santa Claus. And all of the stocks are down. And if you invest in, once we make that turn into Q1, January, February, you're gonna see stuff just skyrocket. And those are great swing trades for you. Great swing trades. I've made a lot of cash just swinging that particular time. So do your research. Look at the data. You can easily put it up. You can go to Yahoo Finance. You can take one company and you can go back 5 or 6 years and see what they was doing that week of Christmas, where the stock was, and then go into January, February, Valentine's, and see where the stock ended up. It's a great time. So start putting you some dry powder on the side and look for those opportunities to strike. I think this year, Christmas Eve, December 24th, if I'm not mistaken, I think that may fall on a Friday. Somebody can check that just to verify it for me. I think that may fall on a Friday, and the stock market may be only open like a half a day. And if not, then you can definitely get in on the 23rd, which probably should be Thursday if that's a Friday. And you can make some purchases then. Those will be some great times if you got some dry powder, or if you got an account that you looking to flip, or if you got, you say, listen, I got $2,000. I want to get in here, and by January, February, I want that 2,000 to be 4,000. Well, during that period, after the hedge funders have pulled out, that week of Christmas, when everybody's on Santa Claus, nobody's watching the stock market, stocks are depressed, you can jump in, get your position, and then be ready to get out around January and February. Okay. With that said, we want to do a little Q&A, and then I want to introduce a new segment tonight to you all, and we're on good time. It's 8:48. We normally off at 9 o'clock, so we're on good time. We do 1 hour for SNS. So Kev, man, do the Q&A, and then I want to introduce this new segment.
Yeah, so at this time, we'll just open it up to the group. If anybody has any questions, feel free to jump on out there. We love the interaction. We like to hear what folks have been doing in the week, and maybe some folks have some good information they want to share. So the floor is open. We give a minute for folks to get their thoughts together, come off their mute button. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions or comments this week, Tim, throw it back over at you.
Okay, all right. What I want to do, a new segment I want to introduce every time we get ready, before we get ready to get out, is because a lot of times I know Pastor Barrow, he's on tonight, and he's always on Motley Fool, looking at CNBC, and he's always doing his personal research. And a lot of you all do your own personal research, but what I want to do is I want to introduce this piece where you get a chance to share with us. You know what I'm saying? You may have a nice stock. You may have something that you've been looking at And we definitely need you to introduce that to the team. We definitely need you to put us up on it, even if it ain't nothing but the watch list. So with that said, I know Vernon just came on. Vernon, you missed out. We went over the stocks that you talked about, Tilray, that you gave, and Fuel Cell. So I'll catch up with you a little later and give you the research on those two particular stocks that you had gave us. But at this moment, I want you to unmute your phone. If you got a stock, or if you did some research, something that you've been looking at, hey, put us on game. And that's what this segment is going to be. Put us on game. Put us on game, because a lot of times I can't catch everything. Kev can't catch every, Bishop can't, Rod, they can't catch everything. So a lot of times, you're doing your stuff, and we want you to put us on game. So every week, we're gonna say, hey, unmute your line, put us on game, because you may have a hot pick that we miss. You go out, you do it, but we're a family. Remember, we making money together. So just for a few minutes, if you got something you know that's hot that you want us to look at, put us on game. All right, that's what time it is right now. Put us on game.
This is Hyacinth. I have a quick question.
Okay.
And it has to do with the stock that thank you. I purchased the CHPT for the charge point. I did research and found out, the American electrical vehicles, where they're located, etc. And then there was part where it said they're going for the analyst price targets. What are analyst price targets? What does that mean?
Those are the guys like what I just mentioned, the Motley Fools, your Jim Cramers. Those are your gurus, your stock gurus. They call them, they analyze stocks, and each analyst have a stock prediction. I mean, I guess you can call me and Kev, Bishop, an analyst. You know what I'm saying? It's just anybody that analyze stocks, look at the the PE ratios, look at the fundamentals of the company, and say, hey, listen, this company X is trading at $5. Based on the fundamentals, based on all my analysis, I think company X that's selling at $5 by Christmas, it should be at $7, $7.50. That's what the analyst rating is. It's just the analyst that comes on. And you got some analysts that are better than others. You got some analysts, all of their picks are wrong. So that's what it is. It's just somebody that analyzes stocks. It's Hyacinth, and they just give a prediction based on the analysis or whatever they use in their toolbox, pretty much like what Kev shared here. When you get the spreadsheet, you plug in your numbers based on what you see, you give your opinion on what you think. Back in the day in Liberty City, they had this show on 99 Jams they used to call Rush It or Flush It. If you liked the song, you rushed it. And if you didn't like the song, you flushed it. So I guess that's what analysis would be like, a rush it or flush it. We're going to rush the stock.
Okay, thank you. I understand now what it is. Thank you very much.
You got it. Anybody else? Put us on game. Hey, what's up, Vern? You got anything? I know you be looking at the market. Put us on game. You got any good picks? You got anything that you're looking at think may be hot? Put us on game.
Nah, I don't got nothing new.
All right, cool. CB, put us on game. You got anything?
You got probably two out there. I like the Neo Lithium battery company out there. I have them since they were at $3. They're gonna went up to about a little over $4, about $4.30 by now. This past week, they've been inching up every week. They just recently bought some more companies out there and everything else. They're going to be pretty big and about. They're my version of Westwater. Right now, I think you'll catch them a good entry point to be anywhere between 3.5 when it does drop. But right now, like I said, they're going to went up over 1.5 this past week. They haven't been past 4 in a while, but they've gotten past that easily. So they're building up support again. I think they're going to go a little farther. Then the other one would be LICY, another battery thing. It's going to actually be a company that's going to take care of all these EV batteries eventually when they do burn out, to recycle them and everything, part of that infrastructure plan. They got a big plant that they're building. Should be completed by the end of the year or about the beginning of next year, but they're doing great. In fact, they just went up, getting close to that 12 market. I'm in at them around 9. So again, when you start looking at the EV markets, those are the ones that are going to be the support markets that are going to start growing up a little bit more. So if people is able to jump into those, the price not that bad. With LIC, I think right now they're running around, like I said, a little over close to 11.5, but you can catch them when they do drop down to around 10. And then other one, like I told you, NTTWHF, that neo-lithium company. Those two companies are going to be great. Just to hold on to them and see what they do as the market and the infrastructure bill is passed.
Okay, give us those ticker symbols again so we can get them in the chat. That was some good stuff, CB.
You got LICY, and the other one is NTTHF, neo-lithium batteries.
Okay.
A little smaller market, it's about 3 of them, but work mostly out of Canada, but they're doing some great things. They're buying up everything they can.
I like that. I like that. So that's NTTHY and
No,
L
F.
Okay.
NTTHF. Yeah.
F. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, and then that's LICY.
Yes.
I like that. Okay, we'll definitely take a look at that. All right. Anybody else put us on game? All right. Well, before we get to Bishop's takes, we got about 4. All right. Somebody was saying something?
Yeah, it's Greg. Can you
I
hear
was
me
just
okay?
I was just coming to you, Greg. You must know I was just going to come to you.
Okay. Yeah, just a quick word about fuel cell. It's really not a charging company. They deal with hydrogen fuel cells. So they're really not in the EV business. But they are a good stock. I had them, we got in about between 1 and 2 and got out at 12. And you know, right now they're a little bit disappointing because they have been trending towards getting positive earnings, but they didn't make it fast enough, in my opinion. And so we got out at 12, and as you can see, it's down to around 6 and 7. But if they show positive earnings in the next report, I would jump in.
What's a good pricing point you think, Greg, for fuel cell? I mean,
well, they had been up to 28 at one point, so I would use that as a you know, a barrier for them to bounce off of if they get back up in that area.
28 for them.
Okay, yeah, I see the earnings date is already passed, September 14th. That was the one you was talking about?
No, I'm talking about the next one.
Okay, all right. Have they listed when the next one is?
Well, it should be December, right? Should be December.
Okay. Yeah, 52-week range is 198 to 29.44 was their high. So there could be a lot of potential there. Okay.
And
right.
I have a stock for you, Alpha Lithium. The symbol is ALPHF. They are a lithium mining company. Right now they're trading about 56 cents. And they have just started drilling mines in what's called the Salar, which is the area in, I think it's Venezuela, that has a lot of mining companies near it. Albemarle, ALB, has mines in that area that are already active. This is a fairly new company, and they just started drilling in an area that's right next to where Albemarle is. But it's still supposed to have a high grade of lithium in it. And they're starting to ramp up to getting production out of their mines. So watch for that. It might be, you know, a year before they start producing enough to drive the stock price up, but it's at 56 cents. It's a good place to hold it now.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. Where they're based out of, Trent?
Canada.
Canada. Okay. Good stuff. Anybody else before we get the Bishop's take? Anybody else before we get Bishop Host to give us his take and close us in prayer? Anybody else? I like that. Some good stuff came down the pipe toward the end.
I'd say take another look at that fuel cell stuff because they do a lot of different things. I know one of which is the hydrogen, but they do they do a type of charging station for specific applications. So I would take a look at that. Take a look. That's why I say it's important to take a look at these companies, not only understand the fundamentals, but understand what they're doing. Because fuel cell is they actually do it. They do a handful of things. I'll leave it at that. Let folks go do some additional research.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Bishop Holtz, it's on you, Doc. Give us your take.
Well, my friends, look, you guys are right again on target. G Money, you are right on target again. As we listen to these opportunities, education really take precedence on what we're trying to do. And the more you understand the process, the better position we can be in and the better decisions we can make. Again, my background was from banking. So we looked at companies based upon credit analysis, based upon how we was going to lend money to, who, how much they can handle. And to answer those questions, we went through an extensive financial analysis of those companies. Tonight we're dealing with investment analysis. And again, we're using the tool of financial analysis to determine which investments can handle the risk, of our opportunities. Should we invest or should we not invest? And G Money, you're doing an excellent job, man. That
Thank you, sir.
That spreadsheet, man, is going to be a huge help in determining the good, the bad, and the opportunities, and giving us the red flags, as to which ones that we could get in, turn around, or either hold for the long term. The one area that we got to keep in mind is the management structure. And I think Tim, really touched on that again tonight. Who's running the companies, how much experience, because they set the tone and the tenor for the future of those companies. And the expectations, the vision, with the R&T investments, will shift the company that can guarantee returns coming back to the investors. And we don't want to invest in a company that's broke, invest in a company that's not going to be around. So we're not going to just look at the numbers. We're going to look at management also to determine expectations. And of course, we're going to look at the markets. And we know right now the markets are depressed. Inflation is about, to hit. You look at the political involvement, the Fed involvement, all of that play a major part in determining the viability of companies and the strength of those future earnings that shows up in the bottom line and the price points that we're going to look at in terms of getting a return. Should we get in? Should we get out? So again, G Money, man, I can't say enough, about what you're doing and how we look at opportunities. And again, to Tim, everything that we talk about, everything that comes to the floor, we got to vet it and to see if it's worth, our while. I know we don't give advice to anybody, we shouldn't. That's professionalism, but it's a great way to educate ourselves because we don't want to speculate too much. If you speculate, how good is your crystal ball? Everybody got a crystal ball. And what you see in that crystal ball, hopefully come into reality, into full fruition. But if we stay with the process and do our due diligence, we will make some money in this opportunity. And you guys on the line, you are different. These are conversations that are not being had, around the tables, in our communities. These are new thinkers. This is a new wave. We're building for the future. And we have not participated in this process like others have in the past. So we're catching up, but we involved. So stay involved, get your education, levels up, do all your due diligence, and let's make some money. Let's get wealthy, you know, and so we can make a difference in our families and our communities and the next generations coming through. So, hey, Tim, let's make some money. Love you,
sir.
guys.
Okay. You want to pray us out, Bishop?
All right, here we go. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you again, God, for the opportunity
Yes.
to be around the table of
Thank
this.
you, Lord.
Thank you for giving us creative mindsets to help us develop a mental paradigm shift, God, that will help us all. We pray, God, that everyone involved in this process will benefit. We pray, God, that you will steer us in the right direction. Bring clarity to the process. Help us to make those decisions, God, that will bring us wealth and increase and prosperity. Let us not fall under the wing of others, but let us, God, stay the course and keep us, God, in a place where you will have us to be. Bless our efforts, bless our actions, and give us a mind to do those things that are pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good night, everybody.
Yes, sir.